My name is Neil Murray. I'm the designer of American of Scots Got Her Head Chopped Off by Liz Lochhead. Well, the thing about this production is that it's contemporary. It's set in a contemporary time. It's now. It's happening now, and it's essentially about a group of people who are telling the story, acting out the play, in a very, very disused, wrecked urban wasteland, some area of Edinburgh that currently exists on the Lyceum stage. And it's a balance between a very big, it's a very big set of abstract expressionistic walls, and within this painted abstract expressionistic world is an urban, harsh landscape of fairly recognisable elements, the kind of things we see about town all the time. There is a large skip full of junk, but also within the skip there is a crucifix, which is not the kind of thing you see in a skip every day, and that's quite significant. So it's quite, there's a kind of radical, scary element to the way we're doing this. It's very confrontational. There's also a burnt-out car, and there is the rubbish of life. Lots of white goods, lots of old fridges, lots of cookers, lots of the stuff of life, basically, that's been chucked out. And on one of those, I mean, we make a plinth out of, it's either going to be a washing machine or a spin dryer or something, and on top of that stands a statue of John Knox with a traffic cone on his head. So again, you know, it's quite potentially quite dangerous ideas that we're playing with. It's contemporary, and these people are putting on a play for whatever reasons. This is what they do, and they have a basic costume that is street clothes, fairly rough street clothes, fairly not exactly down and out, but very urban, very, again, sometimes quite confrontational, but they need to look real. These people look real. These are the kind of people you see in the street all the time. Sometimes these are the people that you kind of feel slightly worried about. You know, they're not. You know, these are not doctors and their wives. These are, you know, these are kind of full-on people, and we use an idea which we call the dressing up box. So they will take elements from, in the way that children play. If children are going to pretend to be a queen, they will do that very, very effectively with found objects, and they will, because children have a wonderful kind of creative imagination and the ability to make things work. That's our starting point. So that's what we're doing. So it sounds great. It sounds like, oh, you just pick anything, but actually it's not quite as simple as that. It's very, very complicated, but so far it's good. So far it's working well. Let's just talk about the two queens. So the two queens are very, very different people, obviously. But in this, and this is obviously linked to the way that Liz Lochhead has written the piece. But what has emerged is that Elizabeth is very golden, is very very kind of queenly in a very sort of trashy is the wrong word, sorry, but you know, she wears a lot of very bright gold. She's a very bright gold ruff. She's got a very Yes, but some of her clothes are very contemporary, but worn in a way that makes her like a, that makes her queenly in a very, again, sort of slightly confrontational way, whereas Mary is very, very understated and very. So she's in black, beautiful, and she's just wearing a very beautiful black silk velvet dress that would have come out of a dressing-up box, and it just happens to make her look stunningly beautiful, so that's very interesting. It's very interesting how that's happened, and we see her being pregnant. She becomes pregnant, so we see the actor kind of move upstage slightly and literally just stuff a cushion up her dress, and so it's all that stuff. It's rough theatre. It's real rough theatre. It's quite interesting. It's rough. It's a piece of theatre that's showing a group of people doing rough theatre, which is how the costumes are working. Some of the drawings for this, some of the drawings that I've done for this show contain photographs that I have had since the 60s. For instance, there is a photograph on Elizabeth's drawing that actually is a wonderful thing that came from a 60s Vogue, and the hair is bright yellow, and I just searched it. I have a kind of quite a good system of storing stuff, because I do need to be able to access stuff. But that's how inspiration might work for me. I know I've got this huge resource that is about images that I've collected throughout my entire working life, that at the time I don't know how they're going to be used ever. And sometimes there are hundreds of them that will never be used, but there's always something about that photograph that makes me go, there's something very special about this that I really, really love. And then there is this other thing called Italian Vogue, which is, Italian Vogue is the best magazine in the world.